Yo, welcome back to the channel, the Managerial Outcomes channel, a channel with little rules and oversight. Today we're going over a neat little product. It's going to be the wing product from Antimatter Industries. So what is this wing product? Well, essentially it's a device that attaches to your weapon light and allows you to drive the gun down, fighting against the recoil of the handgun. So I saw this come out on the socials essentially my brain was like, all right, I gotta have this. I want to try it out. I like the idea of it because it also folds up and it can just easily holster and gets back into your body without an issue. So I thought it was an ingenious design. I like the innovation of it, and I think it's a practical design. Of course, we're gonna put that practicality to the test today. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna shoot without the wing on, and then we're gonna shoot with the wing on, and we're gonna see what happens. So we have the Glock 43X, and then we have my LTT Beretta that we're gonna use it with. And then we'll just, of course, exposate more. Is that the right word? We'll talk more about it after the shooting, and then kind of give you my thoughts, pros and cons. And it'll be a hasty little video, but I think it'll be helpful to you as consume there, mister, watching your YouTube video, be on your TV, computer, iPhone, whatever you're doing, engaging in American consumerism. Anyway, no, it's a cool product. I like the idea of it. Now let's see how it actually pans out, because I haven't shot with it yet, but I saw it and I was like, oh, this could be practical. So I guess we'll do some shooting. So the control for the Glock 43X won't be as good because I don't have a non-winged TLR7 flashlight for it. So we're gonna have to go without a weapon light at all, and then we'll throw the wing on and we'll see what happens there. I'll go mag dump as fast as I can from about 10 yards. Definitely not my best work, but we're starting the day off nice and raw. Check the grouping real quick. Definitely a bad grouping with the 43X, and we'll throw the wing on and see what happens then. So essentially how the wing works is you attach it to your weapon light, and it replaces one of the clasps on there, and it is married to now your weapon light. That's how it works. Pretty simple. I think it's pretty ingenious. We'll get the full experience from the holster with it. So this is gonna be the very first shots with the wing. That was pretty noticeable when I got my thumb on it. Driving it and keeping it down did help with that leverage. That's pretty cool. And arguably, the grouping is tighter. Look at this ant. The grouping is tighter than without the wing. So points to the wing for that. All right, now we're gonna swap paper and try on a fuller sized handgun. So I have the LTT Beretta without any wing on it. We'll go ahead and do a mag dump as fast and accurate as I can without it. Okay, check the grouping. 2 Charlies, and you can just see me going, I'm just going as fast as I can, right? Which I felt like that was a good string of fire. I was riding that trigger right in that sweet spot. Felt good. And just so you know, for the test, we are using AAC 124 grain, the ammo sponsor of the main channel. Gotta let you know what's going into the poorly backed science of this. Still better science than COVID. 1 in the tube, 18 in the mag. What's better than this? Huh? Guys being dudes? Ah. That was a bad start to finish. It's not as A-zone as I wanted, but once I realized I started on the right over here, I kind of wanted to group it, which I think the grouping is definitely not as vertical as the other one. To me, this one, the full-size wing on a Beretta like this doesn't feel as necessary as opposed to, say, a Glock 43X. That was kind of bad. Let me try one more time. I will say on the last one, it felt clunky from start to finish. I feel like I just did a bad run of it. So we'll go for the head box on this target again and see what happens now. Okay. Excuses. We all have them and they all stink. Disgusting! Oh, there's an ant on the target. Do I try and hit the ant on the target?
Yes.
Here, come over my right shoulder.
I'm zoomed in on the target.
All right, you see the ant moving?
I can't tell now, but might be able to tell in post.
Oh, he went over the back. Could you imagine being that ant and you get obliterated by a 9mm round? It'd be like getting shot by a round the size of a truck. Probably like a semi-truck. Oh, there's back. Did I get him? I don't know if I feel like that was definitely not me getting him. Yeah, I got him, guys. I got that ant. Maybe it hit the target and it just like flung him back. He's like, whoa, what the f? What's crazy about that, that was crazy once, I literally forgot once my lizard brain activated on that I had the wing on this. But once I dialed it in, I felt like it was much tighter grouping. If I'm being honest, I don't think as it stands right now that I like the full-size Beretta with the wing. I just don't think it's as necessary because even on that last go around on that redemption run, my hand just naturally went to like resting right about there. And then where it sits on the gun, why did I take it off? I should have just left it on. My bad, guys. I'm an idiot. When I pulled the gun out on that second redemption run, I totally forgot I even had the wing on because my lizard brain was like, the shoot gun. I rested my thumb like right here. Is usually when I shoot my Beretta, I usually rest my thumb like as a touch point on like the slide release up there. And that's like my reference. And then I remembered, oh yeah, we're doing a wing review. So then I pushed it down. At that point, it just didn't even matter. The gun's also so freaking heavy and thick that I don't think the wing for this particular model is necessary. I like the idea of this on a Glock, but I can't remember if they technically consider the 43X compatible or not, but it fits on this just fine and it works. But I did love it. I freaking love the wing on the 43X because I love the idea of the 43X. I have a great setup. I have a light, I have a red dot on a really compact package. You would think concealed carrying a handgun, you want to have as much firepower as possible, and you do, but the problem is I shoot the 43X compared to say like a 19 or a 17, I just shoot it not as good. So my thought process is, if I have to take a far shot at a bad guy in an active shooter setting, you never know what you're gonna encounter in life. Life is hectic and dangerous. I wanna have as much accuracy on my side as possible, so I kinda negated carrying the 43X as much. That's kind of where I'm at. Now, something like this, adding with that recoil impulse and quick follow-up shots, could this add in a level of accuracy that you wouldn't have seen before? So I do want to try maybe some further shots, maybe push it out to 25 to 40 yards and see what we can get as far as headshots go with the 43X on that. So as it stands right now with the LTT Beretta, I think the wing isn't as necessary and it's kind of hitting up in that holster a little bit. Nothing against the product itself. I would like to see it work with maybe a 19. I'm thinking another thing too is that you can see just how big the trigger guard is, and my thumbs don't really extend out to the leverage point that I want. Like I want to like meat hook this thing, right? I want to have like my entire thumb on it. And I think if you're mag dumping, then yeah, I can probably get it, but how I rest my hands naturally already on my Beretta, it just doesn't line up with think I need. Of course, I would like to retry this down the road with say a Glock 19 or a 17. I think there's a lot of potential there. And why it doesn't fit is on say we have an Agency Arms Glock right here. The ridges on the Glock next to the rail inhibit that wing from marrying to the rail, if that makes any sense. So, or attaching, because there's this pivot point back here and it hits that Glock rail. So it's not working just yet. You're probably wondering in the first place, I should have gotten to this sooner, like what the heck is a wing and where does it really originate from? So from my understanding, I believe something like this originates from the competition shooting world. You'll see it where these guys have this ledge attached to their comp guns to help drive that recoil down. Now, Antimatter Industries, what they seemed is they figured out a way to bring the comp world into the practical world. I'm not saying competition shooting isn't impractical, it's just more so the carry setup. You're not gonna be carrying your comp gun around like that in your waistband. I still think you can shoot as fast as you want in the streets because milliseconds matter, and it's your gunfight. You can gunfight how you want. If you want to bring a flintlock to it, then that's on you. But I do like the idea of them taking concepts from the competition world and introducing it into the streets. So I think that's kind of cool, actually. All right, now we're going to try a further shot with the 43X. Gentlemen, videos like these are a blast to make, and they're made possible by generous sponsors such as Americana Pipe Dream Apparel, fantastic young Zoomers getting after it in the milsurp space. Go check those guys out. They'll help you make you look cool with your milsurp inventory. They have a bunch of other cool stuff in there, manuals, night vision, knives, all this fun stuff, so go check them out. And a big thank you to them for sponsoring this episode. We also have to thank Optics Planet. They've been really helping the channel out with lights, lasers, optics, etc. And they're gonna help you out with the discount code admin7, get you 7% off the entire store. And I really appreciate that because I want you guys to have a bunch of cool lights, lasers, optics, and stuff like that. So if you find yourself in a room with Optics Planet, tell them admin7. They'll know the secret code. It's far for handgun headshots for a lot of people, including me, especially if you're under an adrenal dump in the streets, right? You know, I'm not feeling great about that one, but I definitely felt like the wing helped with the recoil mitigation. So that's nice. Oh, well, that sucks. Really bad group. I think all this is from the 43X. Bad shooting on my part. I'm the problem. That's what you get. Maybe we try closing the gap just a little bit. You kind of see what I mean about the 43X. Like, my confidence with it is not as great as a fuller size handgun. I'm gonna put my money where my mouth is and see if I'm actually a better shot with my full size handgun from this distance. There's definitely some shots in there where I was like, oh, that was not a hit. Hey, this is more so diving into the territory of full-size handgun versus subcompact and getting off topic of the wing. But you can see that just with a fuller size handgun, I did much better. Not a great grouping, it's not what I want. I want all 18 of those rounds to be like right on the A, but alas, it's a me issue, skill issue, GG get better. So you can see just from that, simply built different. So what I'm thinking so far is I really like the option of the wing on the 43X. Even though I shoot bad with the 43X, I figured every little edge you can get, and if it doesn't interfere with the gun whatsoever, it locks up in that holster, doesn't get any sort of issue in there, you pull it out, you present, and now you have a little extra leverage on the gun. Why not? You know, why not get that little thing, get that little part for it? Because if you are someone that loves to carry the 43X and something like this can, you know, give you that extra little accuracy, recoil mitigation, yada, 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 etc., then why not? Now, me personally, as it stands right now, like I said earlier, not really digging the wing on the Beretta just because this gun's already so hefty. Yet again, I would really like to try this out with a Glock 19 or a Glock 17 and see how that does. So kind of want to take a look at them. I think it's a really cool product. I would definitely give it props there. Just testing it out real quick. Like I said, full-size gun, not my jam. On the subcompact gun, I think it's brilliant. And how it integrates with the weapon light is very non-invasive. And I love that you can just throw it back in your holster. So you have this traditional arms holster, and how it works, I'll add on my pants, I guess, is you can take it and it folds itself up when you're putting it in your holster, which I think is brilliant, and I want to give those guys big props because that's a really cool design. But if you're using different paddle styles on your X300, I don't know how it's going to integrate into that. Another thing I don't really like is on the X300 is this going to get, it feels like it almost gives me a little bit of panic trying to get to my weapon light button to activate it. It doesn't really feel like it interferes, but maybe like if you're under a lot of stress and duress, like a good adrenal dump, then maybe be like, oh God, trying to get to it. But that's just all speculation and gestating. Is the right word? I don't know. For something like that on the 43X model, I really feel like it's not as bad, but it's still kind of there because you have your finger on top. You have to go down, click on activate your light. It could technically get in the way if you're trying to activate your light on the fly on and off again, like you're displacing, like you're shooting over here, turn your light off. You're shooting over there, turn your light back on. It could get in the way. It doesn't feel like it would, especially with some training. I mean, it does technically get in the way. So if I'm holding right here, say you're holding with your light on, daytime, I can't tell if my light's on or not. And then you want to displace without signaling where you are, you then have to go underneath the gun, and you're kind of breaking up your grip a little bit. So I will say that, there is something like that. Now, is that how you're gonna be actually gunfighting in reality? I don't know. I remember my time in law enforcement where if I had to pull out my service weapon and I say I need to use a weapon light, I wouldn't necessarily love the idea of having to, you know, if I'm working around one side of the car and I turn my weapon light on, and then now, of course, I don't want to be broadcasting a giant beam in the sky where I'm going if I think there's a threat. You know what I mean? So it's like you have to break up that grip. But at that point, if you're moving, you're already breaking up your grip. Oh my gosh, I am saying so much like word vomit. This is stuff I kind of love because it really gets into the minutia of certain gear and stuff, and I think the second channel is a really good spot for it. I think this is a really cool product still, and I like that it exists. So I wanted to take the time to show it off to you guys. Of course, if you do snag one, you're gonna form your own opinions and observations. I'm just one guy. I can only spew to the internet so much. I like it more so on the subcompact in conclusion than I do on the full-size handgun. We have yet to tell how it'll do on the Glock. If you're interested in it, of course, I would say, hey, go read their compatibility list. This isn't like a sponsorship or anything. I actually paid for one of the lights, and then I was like looking at the X300 light, and I think it was out of stock. So I asked if they had one in, and they sent one for free. So that's kind of like the relationship there. So it is something that I was generally interested in trying out, because I do like the idea of force multiplying your handgun as much as possible, because statistically speaking, that's what you're gonna have on you the most. I wish I could carry my rifle around like every day in case there's a bad guy, but for the most part, we don't really do that in America, for the most part. So that's a lot of thoughts, a lot of word vomit. We did a quick science test and conclusion. I think they're neat. That's like 2 conclusions. All right, you know what? We're getting out of here. I'll see you guys later. Whoa! I want to like meat hook this thing, right? I want to have like my entire thumb on it.